My name is Beverley Bass, and I was an American Airlines captain on a Boeing 777 on 9/11. And we were actually flying from Paris to Dallas when the attacks happened. We were over the middle of the North Atlantic, and we were notified that they were going to close all of the airspace, not only New York, but all of the U.S. airspace. So we knew that we were going to divert somewhere. We assumed it would be one of the larger cities in Canada, Montreal, Toronto, Calgary, someplace like that. And then we eventually were able to talk to Gander Control, which is who you first come in contact with as you exit the North Atlantic tracks en route to the US. They told us to land our airplane immediately in Gander, Newfoundland, which we did. We were 36 out of 38 wide bodies to touch down that day in roughly a 3.5-hour time frame. Gander had a population back then of 9,400 people, and we were just a little less than 7,000 passengers and crew that showed up unannounced to this tiny community. And we stayed for 5 days. We landed about 10:15 in the morning on 9/11. We got off the airplane at about 7:30 the next morning. And I think this was my first realization that we had landed in a very unique place. When we walked into the terminal that morning, after having been on the airplane for 28 hours, the small airport was just lined with tables with all kinds of food. I mean, hot food, cold food, desserts, fruit, and they gave you a plastic bag and you just went around and you put in your bag whatever you wanted. It was my first indication that the entire town and surrounding communities had literally been up all night, because that's the only way they could have had the food at the airport at 7:30 in the morning. And that went on throughout the day until all of the airplanes everyone was deplaned and they were taken to wherever they were going to be staying. I feel like people should understand what the community did for us while we were there. And even though 9/11 goes down as the most tragic day in American history, there were good things that came out of it. And the stories that came out of Gander are just incredible. And I remember getting on the airplane after we'd been there 5 days and we're flying home. And I said to my co-pilots, I said, I just want the whole world to know about Gander. And how are we ever going to tell this story? And David Hine and Irene Sandclough made that happen. It was just so beautifully done, and it just made me feel so good.
You found your heart, but